My name's Alex Muñoz. I'm a small business expert and I own a company by the name of CSR, and it's a company that fixes businesses. Businesses tend to make a lot of mistakes, but they kind of go into three big categories. There's the fact that a lot of them don't do the basic planning that a lot of companies should do. Basic things like, let's put together a budget. Let's come up with what we think our business is going to be doing in the next year or 2 years or even 3 years. That's a real important thing that a lot of folks, they just forget to do. The next problem that a lot of small businesses tend to have is that if they do plan, what they end up planning is kind of a best case scenario. I call it the Hail Mary pass, if you will. It's going to be, well, we think that we can do this, and people are going to buy it and they're going to love it and it's going to be great, and boy, we're going to have the problem trying to count all of our money. The last problem that companies tend to run into is they get distracted very easily. They're out there, they're working real hard, they're trying to push their product, and then somebody comes and says, well, I'm not interested in that, but can you do this? And then very easily it's a matter of time where, in a short matter of time, a company will end up getting distracted and going off track and offering something they had no business in getting involved with. The first thing that you need to do is you need to identify what's been your problem. Why are you encountering these issues? So if you can identify the problems, the next logical step is you rank order them. You figure out what's the most important thing. I mean, maybe you've got a whole host of different things, but there's going to be some things that are less important than others. So you focus on the most important ones. And then after that, again, as obvious as it may sound, you start solving them. And sometimes it's hard to do it on your own. And you might just, if you go on a diet or you want to go to the gym and you count on somebody to be your accountability person, you might want to do the same thing here. Call it a business buddy if you'd like, but somebody who you're going to be able to come up with a solution and they're going to help keep you on track to implementing that solution. One that comes to mind that I'm particularly proud of is there was a company, they were seeking to grow. They put together their plan, and part of that plan was that they were going to go out and they were going to acquire companies. They were going to try and get big that way. Well, the problem was that they weren't focusing on, they'd gotten a little distracted. They weren't focusing on what they were supposed to focus on. What I did was I got involved with them. We focused on two specific things. Number one, take care of your customers, and number two, take care of your people. And what that ended up doing was that ended up helping the customer losses that they were experiencing drop, number one. Number two, everybody felt a lot better about what they were doing because the attention was being focused on the right things. And then number three, when they started going and doing these acquisitions that I mentioned to you before, since we were valuing both the customers as well as the people, the folks that were coming on board ended up staying instead of leaving shortly thereafter. The customers that we were bringing on board ended up staying as well. So the company made more money, the employees were happier, and instead of having to actually fire some folks like we were contemplating doing, we ended up hiring more. So it was a win-win all around.
How hard was it for them to make that change?
Oh, it was tough. I mean, I won't lie to you. There were some people that the company started with that weren't there 6, 12, and 18 months later, because it requires a real change in how people act and how people work and what they believe in, and some of them just weren't interested in it. And they were good people, but things changed.
Change is hard for people.
Change is hard. It's always a good time to start a business. So you need to just be you need to really understand what people need, what people want, make sure they can afford it. Tiffany's has a great product out there. Everybody loves rings, but in tough economic times, can you afford them as easily as you could in easy or good economic times? Likewise, you're always going to need to keep your car up and running. If you're offering good mechanic services at a decent price, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a good market for that. You're just going to then need to know how to market it and how to let people know about you and the service. So I don't mean to sound cavalier when I say it's always a good time, but really and truly, the majority of the country is still employed. The majority of the country still is receiving a paycheck and they're spending it. So why shouldn't you get a share of that? I really enjoy integrating with a team, like becoming part of a company's team, finding out what people are good at, and then letting them just run. Different ways of expressing it. You know, I like to open the door so people can run through, or the sports ones where I like to block so that the guy can run with the ball. But really and truly, it's if you've got John Smith on a team and John is good at a specific item A, I really like letting John go and do as much of item A as he can and pull off items B, C, and D, and 1, 2, and 3, but just let John be who John is supposed to be. The best piece of business advice that I've gotten from someone is to really value people. And that sounds maybe kind of generic. It's a piece of wisdom that I've really kind of thought about over the years. And what it talks to, I'm making it be a lot deeper than what the guy told me originally thought, but it's not only valuing your star contributors, the people who come in and are just doing a great job. That person on your team that isn't doing a great job, that isn't being someone that you can really count on, that person is valuable too. And that person maybe is going to be able to do that A-level job if you put them in another role, or even if they leave the company altogether. But it's trying to find what's best and really valuing your people so that they can go and just do the best that they're able to be and do either within your company or outside. If you hold to that kind of an idea or principle, a lot of things just really kind of tend to fall into place. Yeah.